So I, and many other guitarists, I believe, have a problem with Fender guitars. This is not a Fender. This is a parts caster that I built and assembled myself. And the thing that I think is the problem is that Fender is kind of constantly maybe missing a big chunk of the market in that all of their guitars are either super vintage or super modern, and there's nothing in between. And I get why they do this. They're kind of victims of their own success in that they have all of these years of baggage where like this is what a Stratocaster is, this is what a Telecaster is, and so they have the super faithful recreations with ridiculous fretboard radiuses, huge necks that are hit or miss for people. I personally don't mind fat necks, but they always steer either fully vintage or fully modern, rather than something like this, where this guitar has a nice, I love satin finishes. It's a nice satin finish, but it's ash, just like, the great Tellys from the 50s. Has the 3-saddle bridge, which I just think is cool. Again, I think a 6-saddle bridge probably intonates better, but it's like that. I love the vintage pickups. I love the Alnico 2 kind of warm and clear and not muddy sound. But the modern end of this is a roasted maple neck and fingerboard. It has stainless steel frets. It has a 12-inch radius, which is incredibly playable. Everything else on this is very, again, vintage. I have the split shaft tuners, which again, I think are just cool. And it's a vintage aesthetic kind of guitar with modern playability. And now some of you might be saying, well, Matt, what about the vintage Ultralux? And that's super cool to me, but it's not accessible at all. I personally would never pay $4,500 for a just kind of off-the-shelf Fender guitar. I think that's an insane price point. When I built something that is to my taste and better for about, I think, 850 Canadian dollars, I want to say, is what I spent on this. And it's really sad to me because I love Fender and I love their guitars and I love the legacy of the instruments, but I think they miss out on a huge section of the market by going either only vintage or only modern. I'm curious to hear if you guys find the same thing.